It's the Reform or Die podcast, where nothing is off limits and everything must be reformed.
And we're back.
Sex. I'm just kidding.
Ruined it.
Explicit.
Now my mom can't listen to this.
No, this is for the, what did you say? The algorithm, right?
Algorithm's ruined now. And also all of our Christian listeners are upset with you immediately.
Oh, man. Sorry, guys.
Probably lost half the audience. What were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about internet personalities that had some drama. Like Sarah Stock.
Yeah, I don't know much
Elijah
about that.
Schaefer, apparently.
I know Schaefer. I don't know Stock.
Yeah, so she was like I think that's her name, conservative person online. And apparently she was getting married, had the Pope bless her, marriage or something like that? And then...
I don't know if they do that, but probably.
Yeah, I guess they try.
That sounds Catholic to me.
Anyway, I guess she was having an affair with Elijah Schaefer during the engagement lead up, and I don't know. This is all alleged. I'm not sure, but
that is not a healthy way to start a marriage.
Not a great thing. And all the red pill guys online are, having a heyday talking about how, and it is kind of sad. It's like you see a lot of these prominent conservative women on Twitter that have had scandals, like Elon's side chick that was from last year or whatever. What was her name?
St. Clair or something
St. Clair,
like that.
yeah, Ashley St. Clair. And now she's going nuts. She's probably nuts already, but they fake it. They have this lifestyle that they just slip into that's all a lie just to get to where they want to get to.
That's the thing. You get somebody that's, objectively attractive, and then she starts just spewing stuff that she knows people are going to agree with. Then she's going to get a huge following. Oh, dude, she's pretty and she's got a big brain on her. It was...
Yeah, I don't know. But it's all just they're just actually just nuts. They just want some billionaire's kids.
It's the myth of the based woman. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. It's a joke. No, but I do see that. And that there's another side to that coin. So there was, I don't remember what her name was. Probably a good thing that I don't remember. But there was a former porn star lady who had a very public supposed conversion to Christianity. And
I think I know who
she
you're
came
talking
out
about.
and she started doing a lot of interviews talking about it. And
she converted, everyone thought, or maybe she did, I don't know.
That's the thing with it. On one side, there's people who are saying, praise God, knowing that anybody can come to Christ. Christ can change anybody, right? It's not impossible. And then there's the people who are very cynical and saying, you are fake. You're faking this. You're just doing it for money. You're just doing it for fame. And you're not actually a real Christian. I don't think that's the right attitude to have. I feel like people had that attitude with Kanye also, which Kanye has bipolar. So he's kind of all over the place. But people, as soon as he announced that he's, a Christian, everyone jumps instantly to just dismissing it and saying, no. And I think that's not a healthy way to look at it, and also not helpful for those people. If they publicly proclaim the fact that they are now Christians, and then they look online and everyone is just saying awful stuff about them. So it's a hard balance, I think.
It is. I think at our church, not that we're talking about former porn stars turning to, Christianity, but we kind of have this in between way of talking about converts. We say that they've made a decision for Christ. We don't really say that they're saved necessarily, because they'll say we had this weekend at our event or whatever, 100 decisions for Christ. And that I kind of like that language, because it's not we're not describing the ultimate state of their soul necessarily. It's kind of they've professed a change. Now we kind of have to wait and see if they're serious about it, or if it was just kind of no root behind it,
Yeah, you have to know, and you can never really know for sure, but you don't know what the actual heart is behind that decision. Because I've seen lots of people pray a prayer and really not even know what they're praying, and maybe have some kind of false sense that they just signed up for an insurance policy. That's probably what's going through their head, but it's hard to say. But I do think overall it's not helpful to just like rush to judgment of people, because
Good or bad,
really, in these circumstances. Or just reserve it, keep it to yourself. Try not to cloud yourself with those opinions of people. If you're like, oh, there's no way that person's a Christian now, like, give it some time, encourage them.
Yeah. Like, praise the Lord that they have confessed Christ, right?
Yeah.
But we still don't know. That's why, like, you have people jumping on both sides. Oh, they're not really a Christian. They're not really saved. Or they're like, oh, yeah, they're saved. They need to go tell the world and everything like that. I kind of get that. But at the same time, they're still, if they are actually saved, they're still kind of a baby Christian at that point. They're still learning about Christianity and a lot of stuff. Some people are a lot more informed on, Christ and religion and everything. But it's kind of like, some people should go out and tell people, if they had a podcast like George Janko or whatever, he was kind of in that. But other people, it's like, well, maybe hold back just a little bit. You've professed Christ, but start living the Christian life, start doing that, and don't have people jump on you one way or the other. People do this all the time in the conservative arena too. Like, oh, she didn't say this, or he didn't say that, or said this or said that, like Sydney Sweeney. Like, oh, she's conservative now because she did that Gene ad and she didn't apologize for it. It's like, no, she just did an ad. She was paid to do an ad and she did an ad. Like, I don't know. It's just, I see people jumping on it both sides.
Yeah, it's like we want to put someone in whatever box it is, the good or the bad, or the conservative or not. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of think it's good that we, anytime someone professes Christ, I think we can be happy, good, like have good feelings about that. But we don't have to necessarily make a determination about their, oh, well, they're absolutely in the door, or they're, like for any of us, it's just you wait and see. And yeah.
Either making a determination like that, oh, they're saved, that like 100%, or oh, they're fake. Either way, I feel like a stumbling block for that person and for yourself. It's like it's not helpful. It's not a good mindset to have. But
like, there's also the other extreme where people will not celebrate at all. Like, for example, this is just random, but Justin Bieber has shared the gospel several times on his like Twitter and different things, or somewhere, and then it's reposted on Twitter or whatever. I don't know exactly where he posted it, but he's had a couple different things like that, just describing how much Christ has saved his life. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea, but hey, like if Christ is preached, I think Paul talks about that in the New Testament, that we can be, excited and glad that the word is going out. So, yeah.
I agree with that.
Any other celebrities? I'm thinking about, was it Nicki Minaj has also kind of been in the news lately.
I don't know if she's professed some kind of like.
It wasn't for faith though. It was conservative, like election stuff, where she was saying like, if you don't want, if you don't want voter ID and stuff like that, then it's like you clearly just want to cheat in elections. It's like,
yeah, she's definitely come out of the conservative closet recently.
That, and I think the Epstein stuff, like, yeah, the conservative closet.
I'm sorry.
So true.
Thatcher was making a face.
Sorry, no, I was looking at something.
Cringe. No, but I think she said some stuff about the Epstein stuff, right? I don't remember.
I thought so. She said a lot of things, she said some good things.
Yeah.
But I don't know
definitely.
her.
She's definitely said a lot of things.
Yeah. The last episode we released was on Epstein, and like, it was right as all the docs were dropping. Jacob was frantically on the computer looking up every billionaire's name and I don't know what else, but trying to look for stuff, which was kind of fun. We were trying to deep dive, but I don't know. Have there been any other revelations that you guys have had in the last week or so since we last recorded?
I'm like 85% sure that Epstein's still alive at this point.
Okay, we have he's still out there.
I think he's still out there. He's at large.
Why do you say? What new information do we get?
It's a combination of things. It's the guard at the prison, his testimony and his anonymous post on 4chan about seeing some funny stuff happening that night. The article that had already been written up the day before.
Yeah, so there was a death notice, like, I don't know if it was like a journalistic article or whatever, but it was written and dated the day prior that was released. And again, was it dated wrong or was it?
So that's the thing with all these different factors. Any one of them could be a fluke. It could just be, oh, oops. But like if they're all wrong.
The one that's interesting is the noose one, that it was like they've never seen the real noose. Like it was the noose that was in all the photos was like not the one they said that did it.
Yeah, they said it was one that they found at the scene, but it was not the one that was used, which is weird. It's like you just have like a backup.
Was the first story true or is the second story true? Or are both of them not true?
And then the Fortnite thing.
Yeah, you're on that Fortnite thing. I'm like, I don't know.
You haven't heard about this?
No.
Oh man. Okay, so
sorry to all the Fortnite players out there.
Fortnite, it's over for you. So they basically used some different emails and login information to determine that I think it was on the Xbox ban email actually. Where it said
he
his
had logged
username.
back in on someone had logged in on his account to play after he was dead.
Yeah. So they found his username.
Epstein's account? He had a Fortnite account?
Well, he had an Xbox account.
That's what I'm saying. No one wants to play Fortnite anymore, bro.
He had an Xbox account, right?
Okay.
And then they found that same Xbox account was active on Fortnite after he was dead, which is weird. Which means he might have succeeded in getting his Xbox unbanned. Good for him.
Very good for that.
I don't know how he did it, but he did.
Wow.
He must be connected.
That the least compelling bit of evidence, but it is still part of the interesting happenings.
It's all just a piece of a big puzzle.
Well, the one that Alex Jones made, the great Alex Jones, who, by the way, snuck onto Little St. James Island like 20 years ago to film one of their like satanic rituals on the island. Like I can't even believe that's real. And there's like video out there of this owl god that they were sacrificing to. Am I wrong about this?
This is fake news, Kyle.
Oh, okay.
You're spreading fake news.
Good. I'm glad you're correcting me.
What you're talking about is what's that thing called?
The presidential thing, right? Where
It's not the Bilderbergers, is it? What is it? It's the thing out in the woods that they do.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is that next to the
totally different thing? It's not
Lakes or whatever.
It's not on Epstein Island. That is a different thing.
Well, didn't Alex go to the island at one point?
No. I don't know if he went to the island, but the video you're talking about with the big owl statue, it's like a getaway thing that a bunch of rich, powerful people go to. I wish I knew I wish I remember what it was.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Bohemian Grove.
That's what I heard it called, but
that's not Epstein Island.
Oh, okay, Interesting.
There's a YouTube video out there.
I know that he was on the case like 20 years ago.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video out there of a guy breaking into Bohemian Grove at night and giving himself a little tour. It's an interesting video.
But I guess the reason I bring it up is because lately he's been saying, Alex Jones, again, you take it with a grain of salt. Love the guy, but you take it with a grain of salt in anything he's saying. Guy that predicted 9/11 and probably 100 other events that didn't happen, but that one did.
Did he actually?
He like said it was going to happen and then it happened. It's kind of, that's another weird one. Yeah. But, it's like anything. If you predict 100 tragedies and then one of them comes true, but I don't know. I don't know what other big tragedies he's predicted that didn't come true. So
I predicted a tragedy.
You did?
Very recently, yeah.
And it happened?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It was the Super Bowl. The tragic.
That was a tragedy.
Tragic Super Bowl. That was apparently the most boring Super Bowl ever.
No.
Was it pretty boring? It seemed boring.
It was boring, but the Patriots Rams a few years ago, 2018, 2019 was way more.
Well, give me a little bit
wrong
of
guy.
credit.
Thatcher knows his football.
Yeah. I don't know anything about football.
Then stop
but I do know
talking about it. I'm just gonna.
I do know at least the first half nothing happened, and then they had that halftime show
Thatcher's just going to correct you every step of the way.
Nothing happened. The 4 field goals, basically nothing. So continue.
It's basically, well, the kickers don't matter. So
No, they're not real players.
But then the halftime show happened.
I wish the Rams had made it in a way, because then we've gotten the thicker kicker. I think that's what they were calling him, right? The big guy that was the kicker for the Rams. I think it was the Rams.
I think you're right. Yeah.
There's a lot of kickers that are like fascinating people. They got Dicker the kicker on some team. I don't remember which one. And then they got the thicker kicker on another team. And he's like, I think he wears like a 90 something jersey. He's like huge, you know?
I think that's right. I think he is on the Rams.
It would have been pretty fun to see
We can
him.
list this episode as a sports podcast now.
Well, celebrities and Epstein and
Get those analytics
sports. It's kind of a ramble.
But yeah, the halftime show. Did any of you guys watch the halftime show?
I watched the TP USA one.
Interesting.
I did too.
Interesting. It seems like a lot of people watched the TP USA halftime show.
I mean, it's not like they had 19 million views in
well,
total.
No, they did
Plus.
more, I think, right?
No, I
So
don't
they
think.
had like 6 some million concurrent or something like that.
I think it was 10.
Or was it more? Okay. And then 50 million roughly have seen it
total,
or
yeah.
something like that. I don't know. It was big numbers. Said they were the 1 or 2 like live streamed YouTube event ever or something like that, which is crazy.
I took the centrist position and I didn't watch either one because I didn't even know
had
about
life going on.
I didn't even know about the TV USA halftime show.
I texted you about it.
And you texted me about it afterwards, I think.
It was close to the end.
Afterwards. And then I also didn't care about the Super Bowl whatsoever.
Chiefs weren't in it, so I didn't really care.
Yeah, right. And I hardly care about it when the Chiefs are in it too. So
Hey.
So the only bad song was the first Kid Rock song.
Was that
It was
lip
so bad.
sync?
But I don't. Oh, so
It looked like it was they played the wrong song, and he's like trying to sing something
it didn't
else.
look it. But I think all of it was pre-recorded.
That's what.
So
yeah.
it must have been the right song. But I think that what they were trying to do was show his old life. And then the second song was like the Christianized version of what was that one?
I don't remember, but I don't think he wrote that song though, right?
No, it's
Yeah.
a cover. But then he added a verse at the end about Christ, which I don't know. I don't even really know who Kid Rock is that well. I know he's a celeb and he's whatever conservative, but that part was cool. I mean, but yeah, I wasn't in love with the first song, but it was really cool. I mean, the stage and stuff was cool. The lighting was cool. Like well worth going back and watching, and very like all American feeling. You know?
Oh yeah. It was
So-
in English too.
Yeah,
So-
that
was in
that
English.
does help for viewership, I think.
I don't know. I like watching someone ramble in a foreign language that I don't understand.
Well, the worst part was you look around the stadium. I've seen the stadium videos, and no one's dancing, swaying, nothing. It's just they're just standing there looking like dumbfounded, like what the heck is going on?
That's one of the things that they'll use. They'll say, "Oh, the Super Bowl halftime show had so many viewers, like it was a big deal." But also, you have to consider the amount of people who just had it on because they were already watching the Super Bowl. That has like the amount of viewers has nothing to do with what the ratings are going to be, right? Like people will watch really horrible stuff. It's like watching a car wreck, you know. People will watch it. It's not doesn't mean they're enjoying it. And I don't think anybody enjoyed that.
So like some people, probably the uninitiated are looking at it going, why did we choose this? Like, I don't know if very many people, I think even the uninitiated are a little bit puzzled over it, you know? But there's like, I feel like there's layers of subliminal messaging behind it. Maybe I'm a little too fringe theory here, but it's like apparently not a single white person in the whole halftime, and they spoke not a word of English, is my understanding.
From what I know,
No.
the English thing's correct. I don't know about.
He did speak some English at the end.
He did at the end.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm stealing this from Michael Knowles because I listened to it
Okay.
today.
All right.
He said, "God bless America," at the end.
Very interesting.
But then he said went down the list and started naming every country that is in North and South America, including the United States. So when he said "God bless America," he wasn't meaning the
Us.
United States of America. We were pretty low towards the bottom of the list. I think it was kind of like a little bit of a jab at like, oh, he said "God bless America." Oh, he meant like Ecuador and
But see,
Nicaragua.
I think that's
and all
part of the
those other countries.
subliminal message behind the message of having him do this Super Bowl was by the way, people who don't speak your language are going to come in and take over this country. That was kind of, to me, like the subliminal, because ICE is a big thing right now. And like,
I think next year we should have like an all Chinese performance, no English whatsoever, just 100% Mandarin Chinese.
gosh,
That would be interesting for sure. I'd
Yeah.
watch probably.
I mean, that's where we're headed, right? I mean, let's just give the stage to our invaders, our future invaders.
They probably wouldn't have two dudes humping each other.
No, they wouldn't. It would actually
Crazy.
be, unironically, the Chinese halftime show would probably be better, be more respectful.
Yeah.
I think I'll be watching TPUSA's halftime from here on out,
yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. Because they're going to do it again next year, and they'll probably have, even bigger headliners
Oh yeah.
because they've proven that, I mean, the amount of ad revenue they probably took from the Super Bowl halftime was probably insane, and
yeah.
impressions and all of that. So
I think I'm just not going to watch the Super Bowl.
What if I play in it?
I'll watch the highlights.
Oh man.
Maybe.
So you might not be in those.
maybe next year they go and they try and get the most Christian person for the Super Bowl halftime, and then we'd all tune right back in,
Yeah.
I don't
But
know,
I
man.
also
At this point, I
heard-
feel like they burned some bridges, and I don't really want to.
I know.
I just don't.
If the
I
Chiefs
don't
are
get-
there, that's maybe that's part of
Man,
it
dude,
too.
I just don't get any value out of watching the Super Bowl. For me, I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over the whole sporting event thing because I feel like sports are supposed to kind of unify the country, bring people together, make you feel like a patriot.
And they kind of haven't been doing that
And they
since
don't.
Colin
They've been-
Kaepernick started taking knees everywhere. And
Sports have been weaponized,
yeah,
and
it's
it's icky. And
it is.
I don't want to willingly sit down and subject myself to this like weaponized. I'll use the bread and circus term just because it's the only other term I know to use there, but I don't really like saying bread and circus because some people say everything is bread
Makes
and
you
circus.
feel more intelligent than you feel like you
Yeah,
are.
it's yeah. But I just don't like the feeling of willingly sitting down and like just shoveling the propaganda and the entertainment down my throat.
I mean, I just see it as fun, but
If I liked football, it'd be a different story. I don't really like football that much.
I think it depends on the sport too. Like UFC is a lot different than NFL and NBA when it comes to wokeism and all that.
Yeah, I would say UFC is firmly not woke.
Yeah.
They are on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's kind of entertaining to watch UFC sometimes. Sometimes it's a little on the degenerate side, but
You ever seen armored MMA? No. Oh, dude, they're in full sets of armor, like medieval armor, and they're fighting each other with like battle axes and stuff like that in an octagon.
I've seen clips of some of
It's
that, but
sick.
I haven't seen it in an octagon. That's
Yeah. It's sweet.
this is the 250th anniversary for the U.S. coming up, and they're going to have the big old octagon fights in front of on the White House lawn apparently this year, which I mean is certainly contentious. I would say for people who
yeah.
like that kind of thing and people who don't. But
I think it's great.
yeah, I have sort of mixed feelings about. I kind of like the projection of strength kind of feel.
I think we should have an American versus a British fighter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, and we pay the British fighter to lose.
No,
for
we don't
sure.
even
No, I'm
have
just
to.
kidding.
We don't have to even do that. We just beat them up.
we'll just beat 'em, yeah.
We just beat them up because we're better.
Yeah,
So I kind of want to turn the conversation to sort of a take on our leaders, spiritual leaders in the culture, because we had, this big old cultural event in the Super Bowl and all the contentiousness with that. And it feels like we're kind of two countries, like nobody agrees. There seems like there's always, some kind of debate or fight over stuff to me that just seems like American values, like it should be American values. Like I think Christianity is the national religion, that's the way I see it. I think we should even enshrine it that way, but
No, that's bad, bro.
I know, right?
Can't do that, dude.
Well, I mean, I think that the freedom of religion was not freedom of every religion, but freedom to express your religion for Christ, for God, right? So like Muslims, I don't think that those kinds of religious liberties, if you will, are extended to Satanists who are literally killing and eating children, among other things. Like that kind of stuff, I don't see that as freedom of expression of religion, But
Yeah.
but as far as like
that's just adversaries finding a weakness and a loophole and exploiting it.
yeah, like that's the problem is these principles are good principles, but then when your enemies are kind of only using them against you and not living them themselves, like freedom of speech for us, but not for you. It's like, okay, well then, no, we don't respect your side if you're going to constantly shut our side down, you know? But anyways, like this week, John Piper, who is a spiritual hero of mine. I look up to him. I think he's got a lot of really great sermons, the Light and Truth series on YouTube in particular. I love listening to pretty much anything out of that. Some of his newer stuff I'm not as big of a fan of, like the Ask Pastor John series. I'm a little less of a fan of, but he's just an amazing, you know, thinker and preacher. But it really is amazing to me that, you know, I think he's in Minnesota where all this craziness is going down. And Tim Keller, the late Tim Keller, who I knew was a great, really, really nice. I mean, I liked him personally, but apparently, like when he passed, people said they didn't even know he was really against abortion. Like a deacon at his church said this. Apparently, you know, if I'm saying wrong things again, Jacob will correct me eventually. But
if I knew the facts, I would correct you.
Yeah, but anyway, in this instance, Piper came out and said some stuff after Trump's recent post about election integrity that at the very last second scrolled to the next video in this person's like feed or reels. And it had a second of Barack Obama and Michelle as monkeys in a video that was about like the animal kingdom bowing to the lion that is Trump. And like, anyway, so you can imagine the reaction, which is what happened. People freaked out, and Piper went on Twitter or wherever and said basically he kind of misspelled his first, or he miswrote his first sentence. I don't think it really makes all that much sense, but I'll try to quote it close. He said, one need not be so afraid of sounding quasi-woke that one cannot agree with Russell Moore on this. And Russell Moore had posted something with a clip to that thing from Trump that said, this is racist, deranged, humiliating to our country. The fact that we have decided to pretend this is normal every day is a moral abomination. Have we any shame? That was basically the gist of that tweet. So Piper was kind of echoing this, you know, call to we need to go to the moral high ground and condemn this behavior, which when you like actually look at it in context, it's like an honest mistake of just having 1 second at the tail end of that video that they were showing. Go to the next one. Thatcher's got thoughts. Go ahead, Thatcher.
I don't necessarily think that was an accident. Now, I haven't seen the video, but it would have been very easy for them to just cut that off if they wanted to. Even if they did put that in there, it's not that big a deal to me. I haven't seen it.
But you don't necessarily think it was a mistake?
No.
I think it was a mistake. I think it was because of the frequency of posting in the Trump administration, and the fact that they're even just screen recording videos to post on social media shows you it's a very loose and fast media operation. And that happens.
Yeah.
Your social media feeds will auto scroll, and I think they just screen recorded it, forgot to crop the end out of it, and posted it. And that's why the video got taken down very quickly after it was posted.
Let's come back to that, because I want to just say overall, the reason why I'm bringing it up is that I feel that our Christian leaders who I look up to and I have admiration for and respect for, I feel like it just infuriates me. It feels like they're consistently failing me in the area of applying truth to the real world around us. They're geniuses when it comes to just reading the Bible in isolation. But then when you get to like 2016, and I believe it was Piper said something about how evil Trump was. And I think Wayne Grudem, who wrote Systematic Theology, I think he also chimed in, if I'm not mistaken, about, be very, very, very careful around, voting for this person. It's like, I just feel that we have these leaders that don't understand the times we're in, and this post, this is such a random account. I have no idea if this is a big account or what, but I think the person goes by Joseph_Spurgeon on Twitter or whatever. But it says, this really summed it up for me. He said, Barack Obama screwed over our nation for 8 years during his presidency and kept screwing it over after he left. He did everything he could to undermine the next duly elected president. He promoted the slaughter of children. He helped destroy racial relationships in our nation. He has done nothing but wickedness. And Russell Moore, John Piper, and the whole class of squishy evangelicals did nothing. They said nothing. They excused it, minimized it, or stayed silent when it mattered. Then Trump puts out a video, and at the very last second, it plays the next clip. It is obviously a goofy clip pulled from somewhere else with Obama and Michelle in a Lion King style video. It is unserious. It is not policy. And suddenly they, the squishy evangelicals, come pouring out of the woodwork to condemn President Trump. Statements are released. Lectures are given. Everyone needs to know how holy they are. He says, I despise it. I despise them. They are blind guides, straining out gnats and swallowing camels. They can tolerate real evil as long as it wears the right clothes, but they lose their minds over a joke when it gives them a chance to posture. And I read that and I was like, thank you. It's like, this is how I feel, is that we're not going for the big issues, right? Like, and so, yeah, that's partly where I'm at with some of our Christian leaders. And they've done studies that, people who want their pastors to be more political lean to the right by a good margin. It's like 40 plus points. And people who don't want them to be political lean left by like 40 points. And I can just think of like COVID. Imagine how many churches shut down, and some of that I don't necessarily fault the initial reaction to some of that stuff, but how many churches for years were wearing masks in fear, right? And there's just a lot of these things or BLM, when BLM happened, it was, the sensitivity we need to have to this situation. And it's like, okay, but like, when are we going to talk about the other side of this? Like there's other problems in America other than just the left-leaning ones, but that seems to be what is able to be talked about from the pulpits. And when Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, which is the craziest thing ever, a dude who's a father, a husband and father of two, who's 31 years old and just going to college campuses to just have a conversation with people, gets slaughtered in the most horrific way. I watched the video and I hate seeing any kind of blood. I had to watch it multiple times in every angle. And I was devastated. I was like, this is the most crazy thing that's ever happened. It's so crazy. And we gave like a sentence to it.
Yeah.
And it's just so wrong. Like a Christian was martyred on our soil. Or like the last week we had, Don Lemon and the group of misfits that went and stormed a church and shut down services and basically made people feel at minimum uncomfortable, at most threatened, And we didn't say, I don't think most Christian leaders talked about that on Sunday. But if we don't actually talk about that stuff, to me, that's a big problem. Like we're not really engaging in what's going on in our day-to-day lives. We're just kind of talking esoteric or just whatever. We're not saying anything that's got substance behind it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we'll even say stuff and they'll preach from the Bible, and they'll tell you to go live the Christian life. But when it comes to calling this stuff out, they are silent. Like you're saying, I'm just here to share the gospel. I'm just here to preach the word of God. You can preach the word of God and still call out evil. That's what you're supposed to do. Every Christian pastor should be against abortion, should be against gay marriage, should be, for borders. There's a lot of things that they should be for and should be against, and we should know that. And to your point about Tim Keller, I would assumed he was, pro-life. And
I think he was, but no one knew really.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like maybe that's the thing. It used to be just a given, right? And he never felt like he had to share that.
They call it sort of third way preaching, which is neither left nor right, but Christ, or not the elephant or the donkey, but just the lamb. That's all we talk about is just that. But the Charlie Kirk model was politics is an on-ramp to faith.
Yeah.
Like when someone, when you're kind of taking in a Marxist worldview, you're not really thinking about coming to Christ. You're sort of moving away from the gospel.
Yeah, your faith dictates your politics. Like I vote Republican, not because I'm conservative or Republican. I vote Republican because they line up closer to my beliefs as a Christian.
Well, and in the Bible, the people that were killing children were worshiping demons.
Yes.
And there is one party that on the books, on their party policy, they want abortion. So, I mean, we need to call it with some moral clarity here. It doesn't mean that if you've had an abortion as a woman, you're unredeemable. That's not what we're saying. You know, it doesn't mean that if you disagree with us, we just think you're the worst person of all time. No, we want to have a conversation with people about this stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, we do have to say what we really truly believe.
Yeah.
The idea of like the characterization of Jesus being this centrist, everything is love, always be nice, hippie, you know, curly hair guy. It's kind of funny to me because it just doesn't make sense. If you read any of the New Testament, you'll know that Jesus was not a centrist, right? There are firm stances there. There's a very clear delineation between right and wrong. And I don't understand these churches or pastors that will be like, oh, they almost try to like push their flock towards the middle. The middle, I don't think the middle is a valid location. It's like people have just landed there because it's halfway between two sides, but it's like not, it's almost like morally worse to be in the middle than it is to be on either one of the sides. And so many people think for some reason that is the right place to be. And that's where Jesus would be. That's where, if Jesus was here in physical form today, he would be in the middle. Obviously, Jesus would call out evil on both sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean Jesus is going to be standing in the middle of
And I think we've tried to do some of that by saying we don't love the way that the Trump administration has been handling all the Epstein file stuff. Have we not? I think in our last episode, we talked about that we are not pleased with Pam Blondie's handling of, all of this stuff, where they said, oh, the things that man did was sick. That's what she said, like in the first month or so or two of the administration. And then it was, we've got phase one, it's out there. Oh, it was everything that was already out there before. Oh, well, phase two is coming and it's going to be this big drop. Oh, there's nothing. We have no files.
Look at Bongino and Kash Patel and Trump and all of them, what they were saying before versus after.
Bongino, I know that I liked the crazy thing is Kash Patel and Dan Bongino would have been like my 1 and 2 picks to have in there to do stuff. And it's crazy having had them in there. Dan Bongino's left. And he said before he got in there, he's like, I'm going to restore trust in the FBI. It's like, bro, you failed then. Like, I have not had any trust restored in the FBI, bro. I'm like, shut it all down. It's crazy.
I think a lot of people, good people that go in there, good faith, I'm gonna switch this, I'm gonna change this. I don't know too much about Kash Patel, but Dan Bongino, I can see him doing that. And then once you get into that position, you realize how much BS is there and how much red tape is there and how much people are fighting against you and how hard it actually is going to be.
And you realize how much money there is.
Yes.
And then you realize you've been implicated in a child sacrifice. And then you're just kind of stuck.
Actually?
No.
Well, I was going to say,
it's hypothetical.
Yeah.
But you get in the club and you realize, oh, I can't actually do anything. And now I'm being tied to all these things. And now I might as well just stay here and make a career out of it. Turn my $175,000 a year into $40 million in 4 years.
There's definitely the charitable read, and then there's that.
No, I'm not giving a charitable read today.
That's fair. But I mean, all of us are scratching our, because it was Congress that forced them to release 3 million documents on Epstein, and then looks like they've redacted a lot of the. Again, we're still early in this, so we don't know everything, but it looks like they've redacted some of the people that you'd actually want to be following up on. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just interesting.
But the point, I guess you were making a point about political, like the rot and the evil on both sides.
And that we just don't have spiritual leaders that are really willing to step up. And I mean, there are some. I don't want to say there's none.
Some, yeah.
But the big names that you kind of think about, from the pulpit in particular, because there's definitely like the Twitter pastors, if you will, like, they're out there and they're becoming more prominent and more recognizable and stuff like that. But go ahead, Jimmy.
I mean, it's kind of safe to say that the Twitter pastors have more of a following, and probably
Disciples.
they have more disciples, and their words make more of an impact than regular pastors. Like there's a lot of people, I know a lot of people who don't go to church at all. They're Christians, they don't go to church at all, and they get most of their guidance, their shepherding from online personalities who are pastors right now. So it's like those people have a huge kind of influence on the Christian community.
I'm not Catholic, but I love a lot of what Matt Walsh puts out. And some of it, you may not like it. I understand. Some people don't like the sort of bravado, the aggressive, pugilistic sort of take on stuff on Twitter. But I don't know. For me, I look up to someone morally when they're actually willing to stand and call out what I consider to be evil, right? And I just don't see that kind of courage from on Sundays. And I think pastors don't think it's really their job. That's the part that, we've kind of had this sort of lackadaisical attitude over the last while, which maybe it worked for a while. It was preached third way and we all kind of shake hands and move on, even though, whatever it is, 30% of the congregation thinks gay marriage is fine and, or fine with abortion or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are, but I don't think it's zero. And I don't think it's nearly as low as it should be on stuff like that. But, they just won't say anything about that stuff. So we're stuck in these churches where it's like, speak the truth, speak something that's, powerful to our day and age, I don't know. So that's how I feel about it. And I would like to see more of it. And that's part of my drive behind the podcast. It's like, I don't want to be the guy. Oh, I want my pastors to be the guy that I like to push the penguin off the ledge. You sacrifice yourself. You talk about your beliefs. I don't want to do it because I can guarantee people listening to this podcast that not everybody's having a great reaction right now. You know what I mean? So hey, we got to say what we think, and that's important.
And maybe you are the guy, Kyle.
Maybe we are the guys.
Maybe we're the guys.
Yeah, the guy.
The Three Musketeers.
Name that movie.
I don't know. But anyway, just food for thought. The cultural moment has been crazy this week with all the Epstein revelations and, apparently the one good thing about the Bad Bunny stuff, which I'll give it its due. Apparently it was like choreographed fairly well. That's what I heard. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I heard the production level was good.
Was good. There you go. I said something nice about it. So you can't hate me entirely. All right.
Yeah. They had all those people dressed up as trees.
Grass and
kudos
everything.
to them, yeah.
Sugar
It's got to be hard standing out there.
Some of the pastors that I follow that I think are actually decent about or fairly decent about calling some of this stuff out is Jack Hibbs. He's got a church in California. He makes me really positive about California switching red at some point in the next few years.
Bro, it is red. It's just voting with a bunch of illegals there. So.
Honestly. And then Josh Howerton, he's got a church in Texas.
I've seen some of his stuff on Twitter and I like some of it. Yeah.
I can't say I agree with everything, but he's decent about calling this stuff out, or at least talking to things that are happening in our culture and in society. And then another guy, I don't watch him a ton, but, or a couple of guys, Johnny Artavenis, I think, younger guy. He's pretty good as well, or as far as topical stuff and culture, like, probably on the lesser of those three. And then another guy is Costi Hinn. And so I think those guys, just off the top of my head, do a decent job. And I think there are some that do a good job.
So we'll make this real here for a second. Do you feel like, as far as being a follower of somebody, you almost feel like you follow them more than like a local pastor kind of thing?
Yes.
Or, yeah. And why is that? What makes you...
Most of them feel genuine and honest and feel like they're actually talking. Some pastors here, and this isn't anything necessarily against our pastor.
Who we love, by the way.
Right, yeah, love him. Preaches great messages.
And we want more fire out of him.
Exactly, and I think it's there. I believe it's there. But I think a lot of pastors, especially young guys coming up, they get into this rhythm. And you could see it at another church I went to with one of the guys, just the way they... Obviously, it's nerve-wracking to get up in front of 800 to 1,000 people every single Sunday with a message that you're trying to convey to the best of your ability. So it's nerve-wracking. So it's easy to get into that habit of routine of you have to sound this way to get the words out and everything. But these guys, it seems actually genuine. Like they're actually there talking to you specifically, and they're just being real with people. And they're like, if I said something wrong, you know, the Holy Spirit's going to work how he wants through whoever he wants. And it feels a little forced and fake with some people.
Well, and one problem I have is that Christians sometimes will condemn people outside the church that are on Twitter or whatever, like the red pill content that's out there online. They'll say, oh, don't follow that. They're just morally depraved individuals and, you know, whatever. But then it's like, well, why are people going there in the first place? Right? It's because something isn't happening in our own churches that people are seeking someone to listen to what's going on in their lives. So they're going out to follow these people where they can find what they feel like is guidance, right? So, you know, people who don't like Nick Fuentes, for example, just to use a name, you know, who some may know, but
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I'm sure. But like, they don't like him. They condemn anybody who would listen to him, right? Just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, it's like, well, you just haven't done any analysis on why people are going there. The same thing with Trump. For a while, it was very like, oh, I can't believe you'd support Donald Trump. Yep. And you'd be immediately castigated, right? You were just like, you were the black sheep of wherever you were. But yeah, I guess that's just the issue is like, you know, they didn't do any thinking on why people were going there in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, what were they missing? What was someone lacking that would drive them into the arms of this person, you know?
You should probably, like, it'd probably be wise to take a look at that. Say, why are Christians, just specifically Christians, not just, you know, unbelieving people, but why are Christians gravitating towards a self-professed Catholic guy who has some really hot takes and has some good points? What are the good points? Do I believe those things too? Maybe I should go out publicly and talk about this stuff too. And maybe correct some of the pitfalls with that Nick Fuentes individual, and maybe give an alternative to my fellow brothers in Christ for someone that they can go to. Because you would hope that someone can objectively watch a Nick Fuentes video and separate the wheat from the chaff and pull out the things that are good and cast away the things that are bad. But more often than not, people are going to watch that stuff and just kind of buy in completely.
Well, and
Or
sometimes older people,
direction.
maybe in particular, I don't want to, you know, generalize, but they may not understand all of some of it's humor and exaggeration and, you know,
Sarcasm.
Not everything on the internet is meant to be a forever, you know, I absolutely 100% believe what I'm saying right now kind of thing. And, you know, so there's some of that too.
Yeah. But I think trying to compete against that, at least putting in some effort, because I don't know. I feel like if you're a pastor in this day and age, you need to know what is going on in the culture, like what your people are seeing out there. And if there's this, like, if there's a person in the neighborhood who's driving around in a van and like kidnapping children, you should probably know about that, right? If you're a man, you should know that is happening, and you should be saying, what can I do to prevent this or to fix this? And it's the same kind of thing. If someone's like infiltrating into your space, dangling these little carrots of like good information and stuff that you agree with, but also maybe coming in with a left hook of some more distasteful opinions, depending on who you ask, maybe you should be sitting down and like actually thinking that through and saying, what am I doing wrong? Or what am I not doing that I need to be doing to fill that void for my people?
Exactly. It's a hunger, right? There's people go to, you know, someone who's a rhetorician, or, you know, they're looking for someone to say something that they themselves think, right? That's why free speech is important, because as soon as you cut free speech down, like, you essentially chop off people's ability to think through stuff, you know? I think that's one reason why Twitter being acquired and actually not as censoring as it has been in the past has made a big difference on the Overton window and on dialogue and, you know, political dialogue. But anyway, What do you think, Thatcher?
Well,
Give us
you get a lot of-
maybe some thoughts. I don't know if we're ready to close, but we're getting close. So what do you think?
You have a lot of guys, the red pill guys and stuff like. And I need to be better about how I'm saying this.
Red pill.
No. Well, you have a lot of red pill guys, and some of them are Catholic, some of them profess to be Christians, some of them think that's one and the same. But you don't get a lot of Christians, you don't get a lot of pastors in that area to talk about politics on a conservative level as a Christian and bring up Christian viewpoints. Charlie Kirk did that really well. Charlie Kirk could debate any one of these red pill guys and destroy them, absolutely destroy them. We don't have hardly any of those guys. We don't. Guys like Nick Fuentes could mop the floor with some of these Christian leaders, Christian pastors when it comes to politics and stuff like that.
This because the pastors aren't really battle tested. They're kind of giving a sermon in an isolated environment, and maybe they get some follow-up emails, but they don't really have to, really think through some of the positions, I guess.
And I think
in the same way, at least.
COVID brought those pastors out a little bit more. They saw that the government's trying to overreach and shut these places down. Like, no, you're not doing that to my church. And that kind of lit a fire under some of them. But
John MacArthur, is a good example of someone that didn't shut down. If I'm remembering right.
I think he stayed open the whole time.
And
I think Jack Hibbs' church stayed open the whole time. Now they probably had less people attending, but I'm pretty sure they had people there. So I think we need to try and, I'm not saying us specifically, but we need people in those spaces because it's the question we've been asking. Why are they going there? It's because they're not getting it in the church. Who would be somebody level-headed to listen to on who to vote for, what these politics are, who they are. And I think a lot of that too is mature Christian men in the church, like older men, wise men. It doesn't have to be a pastor. There can be plenty of, there's a couple of people that I know, dads that I know that would be solid to listen to when it comes to certain things, but we don't have a lot of them. And I think that makes it tougher. And that's why a lot of these young guys especially are trying to find other avenues.
Closing thoughts, Jacob, on Epstein, on Red Pill, on what else did we even cover? Oh, Christian leaders in society and politics. I mean, we've kind of covered a lot today, but
I like Jeff Durbin. I really like a lot of the stuff he says. And he's not afraid to push up against cultural issues and like obliterate them with scripture, which is awesome. You're pointing at me.
No, sorry. I was just going to mention a couple names.
Okay.
Jump in, Thatcher.
Nick Freitas. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
I've seen his name, yeah.
And John Lovell or Lovell.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both of those guys, really solid guys.
But yeah, that's one of the ones that I've really enjoyed listening to. And I think you're right. We need more people, more Christians in the space of politics and government.
Pick up the mic.
Yeah. We need them in government. We need them in just cultural spaces on X, on YouTube. We need to be vocal. We can't just like sit in the middle and hide and just, be afraid to like voice the opinions we have and that most of us have and like speak out against some of the stuff, because I guarantee you there's a lot of people, even at our church, that if you went up and asked them and really got it down into the dirt, they would tell you, oh, I feel this way. I have all these opinions about these issues, but they would never, ever talk about it openly or even admit that that's how they feel. And they might not, it's probably not even a bad thing that they're feeling, and they almost just need a role model to see, okay, it's fine for me to feel this way. This is a good thing. And this is a good way that I can express it in a way that honors God. That's the other big thing with pastors being able to model that for their flock. And then, closing thoughts. I don't know, Epstein, he's still alive. I'm like
Jacob's convinced.
89 to 92.3% sure Epstein is still alive. Did John Piper ever talk about Epstein? Did he ever like condemn Epstein?
That would be an interesting thing to know.
Because
Maybe
if
he
he's
was in the
condemned Trump,
files.
well, that's quite an accusation. If he's condemned Trump for accidentally posting a meme, but then isn't talking about the just utter satanic, hellacious evil that is soaking our government right now, like our entire governmental system is
Everything.
Yeah, I mean that's something that's worthy of talking about. You know.
Yeah, I'm curious if we actually talk about it this Sunday at church. I mean, I brought it up. We were going through the book of Daniel this week in our group, like sort of small groups before church, and there's like the revelations of the prophecies kind of things that he gets at the end, the visions, and there's like the empires are like beasts, and it's kind of this representation of like government is often beastly. It's wicked at times, but eventually there will be the reign of Christ, which is what we look forward to one day. But, governments can be like that. It's like here we are with all the Epstein docs dropping, and it's like they're literal Satanists. They're literally doing unspeakable things to children, killing them and eating them, which is insane. And it's
allegedly.
Allegedly again, but I mean, gosh, it sure looks that way. So I don't know.
I doubt we get anything on Sunday from the pulpit. From
You really
our
think?
pulpit.
You think no?
I don't think we're going to get anything from that.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, it's
If
like
anything,
straight Satanism, though.
it might be some passing thought as he's going through some portion of scripture, but I don't think it's going to be much.
We're in the Psalms, though. This is really easy to make Psalms apply to just about anything. You could read them upside down and get them to apply to something in your life. You know what I mean?
16? Yeah, I mean, it's true.
You turn it and you read it in another language and you could still apply it. Maybe even Spanish.
Have Bad Bunny read it.
Yeah, we could have Bad Bunny read it and we'd still be able to apply it
You
to
can
something.
understand what he's saying.
I don't know. Anyway, so that's my closing thoughts. Thatcher, any last thoughts?
No.
Yeah. We just keep praying. I keep praying for our country to become more and more Christian. We need the light of Christ in our lives and in our government in particular, because golly, like see what's been coming out with all that stuff. So, and I pray for arrests of the wicked, that people would be brought to justice. So I think that's really how we turn the country back around. And I don't really see liberals as my enemies, by the way. Like I see them as misguided a lot of the time. So, I'm not trying to start some fight by this podcast. You know what I mean? I'm trying to just speak what I see is in the culture, what's going on, the literal Satanism stuff. I would say that's, our struggle is not against flesh and blood.
It's a bipartisan issue.
Yeah, it's a bipartisan issue, 100%. So anyway, that's kind of where we're coming from in Epstein Part 2 and all the things. So until next time, maybe we'll have a Valentine's Day post. Probably not, but you never know. Maybe that'll be the teaser. I still want to interview Thatcher and Molly at some point, get their thoughts on the
we'll
dating world
down.
and how crazy it is. So, but you never know. So till next time.